There has been an extreme amount of hype surrounding Colton Herta in the IndyCar series, as he went from rising star to top tier star in a relatively short period of time. In his third IndyCar race ever, he took the top step on the podium, and that's when everyone began to think, man, this kid is probably the real deal. Every year now he's considered a championship favorite, and there's a lot of hype surrounding him possibly going over to Formula 1 as either part of Andretti's new team with Cadillac, or maybe even another one as AlphaTauri had some interest in the young American. But his first win in IndyCar will forever be a special one because it was a unique event, and as of 2023, an event that has not taken place since. And that was at the IndyCar Classic at Circuit of the Americas in 2019. After winning 4 races in Indy Lights and finishing a runner-up second place in the standings to his teammate and current IndyCar driver for Arrow McLaren Pato O'Ward. He would race the full 2009 IndyCar season for Harding Steinbrenner Racing, who had a partnership with Andretti Autosport, the team that Colton was actually under contract for. This was only the team's second full-time season, but they were definitely elevated to a next level with the support from Andretti. Colton would pilot the number 88 entry, and it didn't take long for the IndyCar grid to realize Colton and the team would be a force to be reckoned with. The second race of the 2019 IndyCar season took place at Circuit of the Americas. And as of right now in 2023, this is the only IndyCar race that's ever taken place at the track. And it was also the first time since 2006 that IndyCar and Formula 1 would race on the same track in the same year. The last was in 2006 when Champ Car and Formula 1 both raced at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal. Colton Herta would roll off in the 4th position, second row of the grid, while Will Power was on pole.
Ready to go racing in the Lone Star State, IndyCar style. Great. Power with a terrific start. Here comes Ryan Hunter-Reay up the inside of his teammate. Rossi. As they climb 133 feet to turn 1, it's Power clearly in front.
Somebody's going to get creative here. There you see Scott Dixon. There he goes outside around the sausages. He gets 2 positions with that move.
He got 2 positions outside of the track. You cannot do that in Formula 1, but they're allowing it here.
Look at Colton Herta. What a start from the teenager. There's a spinner at Zach Veach.
Besides the spin by Zach Veach, who oddly enough is in Colton Herta's current car in the IndyCar series, the start of the race was relatively clean, and it wouldn't take long for strategy and pit stops to start for the 60-lap race.
Pitting from third, Colton Herta, here he comes. Exiting pit lane, the 18-year-old sensation who finished runner-up in the Indy Lights Championship last year. He's got Joseph Newgarden, the championship points leader, right behind him. He's going to be where it all cycles through once Will Power, race leader, pits, and Alexander Rossi. As we take a look at the field of rookies, there are 6 in the race today, and Colton is the youngest of the group.
Colton Herta was holding strong in the 3rd position, and Will Power would make his pit stop from the lead on lap 13. And at this point, he was relatively unchallenged. On the very next lap, Colton Herta would make his move on Alexander Rossi and would move into the 3rd spot. But this was more like 2nd place behind Will Power, as Graham Rahal was leading the race and did not make a pit stop yet at this point.
It is Harding Steinbrenner, but it's supported by Andretti Technologies, and the 18-year-old gets the inside run on the man who finished runner-up in the championship last year.
You could see the urgency from Alexander Rossi. He knew he had to do something big, but he locked up the front tire, slid wide, and clever Colton just ducked it inside, and off he went.
At one point, Will Power had over a 4-second lead at the conclusion of those first pit stops, but Colton Herta was able to reel him in and bring Alexander Rossi with him as he was hovering about a second behind Will Power at the 1/3 mark of the race. And on lap 22, Rossi was actually able to get back around Colton Herta to take over the 2nd spot, as Alexander Rossi seemed just a little bit quicker at this point in the race. And on top of that, Will Power began to stretch his lead out by just a little bit.
How about Rossi schooling Herta on where the track limits really sit? The track limits are the wall.
Yeah. Fully committed here. He decided, I'm going down the inside. No matter how far you push me over,
I'll use everything that's there.
I think Colton was thinking, well, it's the white line, right? It's the white line. Rossi's like, no.
Power, Rossi, and Herta distanced themselves from the rest of the field by quite a substantial margin, and Colton Herta was the first one to hit pit road for his next pit stop on lap 28. He would rejoin the track and remain in the third position, just ahead of Joseph Newgarden, who was in fourth. And the next lap, Power and Rossi would be in the pits. They would both exit just in front of Colton Herta, and the three cars who were the class of the field so far remained at the front of the field. On lap 41, Rossi was putting immense pressure on Power for the lead of the race. Colton was still in third, but he has fallen well back and is now 7.5 seconds behind them. So far the race has remained green, and it seemed like Colton was slowly falling out of contention unless he got a little help from a full course caution. Colton had fallen to over 10 seconds behind Power and Rossi when he would hit pit road for a routine pit stop, and this is where things would drastically change.
Push to pass for Power and Rossi. Big crash, and yellow's going to come out. That is not what Power and Penske wanted. Blocking pit entry as well when you're low on fuel.
Felix Rosenquist.
And the danger zone bites.
That is turn 19 out there in the runoff. It looks like he lost it on the bumps on cold tires on his outlap. And he spun and hit at the pit entrance, and this is going to ruin Power's race.
Huge break for Colton Herta, who had just pitted. So Colton and Newgarden and Hunter Ray looking pretty. This is a disaster.
Dixon now in third place.
Wow.
But has he pitted?
No.
The only guy that's pitted is Herta. Herta could go into the lead of this race and get his first win.
Herta, Newgarden, and Hunter Ray sitting pretty.
Uh-oh. Locks it up.
Now this is several corners before.
It's a drag race.
Trying to get around the Schmidt-Peterson car of James Hinchcliffe, so he's on the outside of Hinch. Out wide, Pagenaud's there as well.
Oh, there might have been contact here. Look at this. Hinchcliffe does not give up. He's way out there. Oh, they touched.
Oh.
They touched.
Hinch just got big time into the back of Rosenquist.
And that's what happens when you're racing guys on cold tires and the leader doesn't pit. You're in the danger zone, just like we said.
That's certainly going to draw the review of race control as well.
I'd have to say that's pretty much all on Hinch, really.
Totally.
Will Power, who's been the dominant car of the race, as well as Alexander Rossi, get caught out by this full course caution and are forced to pit under the yellow. This would give Colton Herta the lead of the race. But unfortunately for Will Power, things would go from bad to even worse, as when he was leaving his pit stall, his drive shaft in his car would break, and that would effectively put an end to his day, and he would finish dead last in the 24th position, the only car to not see the checkered flag.
Scott Dixon said he had scuff reds, or you have sticker primaries. They went with sticker primaries, and Will Power, as you can see, has stalled the car. Sticker reds for Will Power, the man who has led 45 laps, all but one lap just now. The first lap, the car is fired, but he can't seem to be able to engage it into gear. That seems to be the issue. The car is sitting here making noise. I can hear that it is running, but he can't get it to go into gear. So we'll see what's going on here with Will Power, who led every lap until just a moment ago, and it won't go. It will not go, guys. You can hear him rev the engine. You can hear the RPMs.
He thinks the drive shaft
Yeah, drive
is
shaft
broken.
or something. You can hear Will say that. Correct, Paul. They're going to try it again here.
Colton Herta would restart the race in the lead with only 10 laps to go, and the only cars that have been better than him so far have now found themselves in trouble, with Will Power being completely out of the race and Alexander Rossi buried down in 13th spot after getting caught by that caution.
Here at Circuit of the Americas, and Colton Herta gets a blinding restart. Alexander Rossi back in the pack, really lit it up. He was sideways through turn 20.
Graham Rahal looking up the outside of Hunter Ray. Wheel to wheel, he's going to get run off the track.
But he learned this move earlier. Watch Rahal.
He's going to have the inside run on RHR. Wheel to wheel through turn 2 and 3.
After only 2 laps, Colton Herta found himself already 2.5 seconds ahead of second place Joseph Newgarden, and that gap would slowly increase by another second as Colton Herta would take the white flag.
He knows how to win races, but he's never won an IndyCar race before. This is something special.
Giving up a little bit of lead. He's dropped off about a second in that gap to Newgarden, but he's got plenty in hand. He's got a lapped car just up here in front. Hopefully hopefully that lap car will let him go.
And what I love, he's used every second of push to pass now. He's not going to leave anything on the table. Final lap.
Take this. Think about this for a moment. At 18, he won the Rolex 24 in Bobby Rahal's BMW in the GTLM class. He's got a Rolex wristwatch on his hand, on his arm. And now in this IndyCar for Harding Steinbrenner Racing, the team that was launched at Yankee Stadium last December. What a moment. It's been a story. It's been a fairy tale. This second generation driver now becomes the youngest to ever win in IndyCar. Colton Herta has done it.
As Lee Diffie said, as Colton Herta took the checkered flag, Colton Herta became the youngest IndyCar Series winner in history at 18 years old, 11 months and 25 days, in only his third start. This was also the first win for Harding Steinbrenner Racing. Herta was also the first IndyCar Series driver born in the 2000s to start and win an IndyCar race, and as of right now, the only IndyCar Series winner at Circuit of the Americas.
Colton Herta becomes the youngest driver ever, surpassing Graham Rahal to win an IndyCar race. Standing on top of the race car, Colton Herta is an IndyCar winner a week before he turns 19. So we talked before the race, and I said, can you win? Are you ready to win? It's going to take the perfect race. Was that the perfect race?
Yeah, perfect strategy, man. Dude, we were not expecting that. You know, I think we were going to get a podium. We were going to get a podium. We were going to get third, I think. We had the pace for that. But holy crap, man. I am worn out. And that restart at the end just finished me off.
Tell me about the last restart. You had champions behind you as Michael Andretti. Andretti Technologies supports this program with Harding Steinbrenner Racing. How did you hold off the champions behind you on that late restart?
We just had really good pace on early on, you know. We seemed to fade at the end, but early on we were so quick, and that's kind of what led down to it. So, you know, it was a big team effort this week, and obviously we had an engine go in practice too, and all the boys worked really hard to get it back. Honda was working tirelessly to get the engine back in the car, and yeah, it was spectacular.
How worn out are you?
Oh, for sure. I need a nap, man.
Congratulations. More from Victory Lane coming up. Now let's go over to Kelly.
Colton would go on to win his second race of the year at the finale at Laguna Seca, and he would finish 7th in the standings and runner-up in Rookie of the Year. That's going to wrap up today's video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed my first video focusing on first-time winners. I'm sure there'll be more of these in the future. Make sure to subscribe to my channel for more awesome IndyCar content just like this, and leave some feedback on the video by giving it a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you didn't like it. I hope to see you guys in my next one. Take care, everyone.